Good morning, students. So, today we are going to learn about a new concept under staffing, that is, staffing as a part of human resource management. Staffing as a part of human resource management. So, staffing is a very important function when it comes to management. Yeah. So, human resource becomes a very important aspect or a major aspect for each and every business organization. So, it can be said that it is a duty or it is a job of a manager to fill the position in the organization and to make sure that the vacancies or the job available in the organization are occupied with the qualified people. So the vacancy available in the organization will have to be occupied by the qualified people, that is nothing but right man for the right job. So staffing, it is closely linked to the organizing, since after the structure and position have been decided, after the structure and the position have been decided, people are required to work in these positions which are available in the organization. So they need to be trained and motivated to work in harmony. So when there is harmony, then the work in the organization goes in a smoother manner. Yeah. So staffing is seen as, like I told you, it is a important function, or we can say that it is a generic function of management. It is that particular function where the actual workforce is brought into the, that is efficient workforce is brought into the organization. So staffing, it deals with the human element of management. It deals with the human element of management. So managing the human component available in the organization is a most important task, because the performance of an organization depends upon how well this function is performed. So if the staffing process is done in a proper manner, then the efficiency of the organization will be more. So the success of an organization in achieving the objectives, the success of the organization in achieving the objective is totally determined to that extent on the basis of the motivation and performance of the human resource. The success of an organization in achieving its objective is determined to a greatest extent on the motivation and performance of a human resource. So what is the amount of motivation given to the employees in the organization, or what is the amount of performance that the human resource is putting in the organization becomes very important while evaluating the performance, or while seeing the objectives, or while concentrating on the objective or achievement of objective. Okay. So here, when coming to the organization, it is the responsibility of all the managers to directly deal with and select people to work for the organization. So a manager, he cannot, or it is not possible for him to directly take people according to his wish. Why? Because the performance of an organization becomes very important. The output or the objective achievement becomes very important. So it is a great deal or a responsibility to select people to work for the organization. So when a manager, when he performs the staffing function, yes, so it is a difficult task, or when the manager performs the staffing function, his role is slightly limited. It is, first of all, it is a difficult job, and the second one is his role is slightly limited. So some of these responsibilities, it will include placing a right person on the right job, or introducing new employee to the organization maybe, or training employees in the organization, or improving the performance, or developing their abilities, yeah, so, or maintaining a morale, then you can say that protecting the health and physical condition of the employees in the organization. So in small organization, manager, he may perform all duties related to employee salaries, welfare, and working conditions. So what happens when the organization is expanded? When organization is expanded, or when the size of the organization increases, it becomes difficult for a manager to look after each and every activities of the business. Okay, so what happens here is like, as organizations grow and the number of persons employed increases, the separate department called human resource department is formed, which is specialized in managing people, Okay, so the management of human resource is a specialized area which requires the experts or expertise of many people. So the number of human resource specialists and size of this department gives an indication of the size of the business as well. It gives an indication of the size of the business as well. So for a very large company, the human resource development or department itself will contain specialists for each functions of this department. It contains human resource department. So there is the human resource department itself contains specialist for each function which a department takes out or carries out. Okay, so what are those works? So the HRM or the human resource management, it includes many specialized activities and duties which the human resource personnel must perform. So what are those duties or the work of the human resource management? Like I told you, when the organization it expands its business, or as the organization expands its size, obviously it becomes difficult for a manager to carry out each and every activity. That is where the HRM comes into practice. Okay, so what are the duties of this HRM? So one is the recruitment. So when coming to recruitment, it is nothing but the search for the qualified people. So what a HRM team or department does is, it looks for the qualified people, that is, it carries on with recruitment process. So the second one is analyzing job, collecting information about jobs to prepare job description. So what they do is like, they in the organization, they analyze the job, collect information about the job. So they analyze the job, that is, what is the kind of job available or required. Yes, so what they do is like, they analyze the job and they collect information about the job to prepare a description of that particular job available. Then the third one is developing compensation and incentive plan. So when the employee is working in the organization, it is very important that he will have to be given with compensation. Yeah, he will have to be given with compensation. So what they do is like, they will plan about the compensation as well as the incentives that has to be given to the employees in the organization. The fourth one is training and development of employees for efficient performance and career growth. Okay, so as the technology is getting upgraded every now and then, or as there is a technological changes every now and then, it becomes very important that the employees in the organization will have to be trained, in order to be trained or provided proper training to improve the performance as well as for the efficient career growth. So career growth and also the performance has to be increased. So for that purpose, the employees will have to be trained. So what this HRM does is, or the human resource management does is, it trains and develops, or it provides training and development to employees, and also it helps in the performance and also the career growth. Okay, the fifth one is maintaining labor relation and union management relations. Yeah, so there are chances that there may be labor unions. Yeah, labor unions in the organization. So what it does is it maintains a labor relation and also the union management relation. It carries out a proper relation with the both the labors and as well as the union management. So sixth one is handling grievances and complaints. Handling grievances and complaints. So when there are certain problems or grievances or complaints of employees, so what a HRM does is it sees that those complaints are taken into consideration. Those complaints are taken into consideration. Yeah, so what they do is like they look on to the grievances or the sorrows and the complaints of the employees in the organization. So the next one is providing for social security and welfare of employees. So it takes all the measures to provide social security to the employees as well as welfare of the employees. So the employee in the organization will have to be given with social security, job security. It has to cater to the needs of the employees. It will have to look after the welfare of the employees. So all this becomes very important. So the next one is defending the company in lawsuits and avoiding legal complications. So when an organization comes across any legal complications, when an organization comes across any legal complication, what HRM department, that is human resource management department, does is it defends the company in lawsuits, right? It what it does is it avoids or it avoids the legal complication that may arise. Okay, so this is a very important aspect. Yeah, so the next one is staffing process. We are going to the next concept, that is staffing process. So the main purpose of staffing is to obtain the most competent person who suits the organizational requirement or according to the organizational structure. So organizational structure ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅದರ ತರ ಅಥವಾ ಅದರ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲೇ ನಾವು ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯೀಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಸೆಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದ ಮೇನ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಟಾಫಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಟು obtain the most competent person who suits the organizational requirement. So the employee who is selected should be according to the requirement of the organization. That becomes very important. So like I told you in your previous class, a wrong selection of employee, yes, a wrong selection of employee may result in ruining the business organization. Yeah, so the total mismatch in the staffing of employees in the organization may take place if there is a wrong selection. So wrong selection ಅನ್ನುವಾಗ ಯಾವಾಗ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯಿನ ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ರಾಂಗ್ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯಿನ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ಬೋದು, there are chances that the organization may come across problems. Yeah, so in order to avoid this mismatch, there are certain process which has to be carried out while making a staffing. Yeah, so staffing ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಟಾಫ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಆನ್ ವಿತ್ ದಿ ಸ್ಟಾಫಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್. So the first one is estimating the manpower requirement. Estimating the manpower requirement, or it can be said as manpower planning. Totally calculating or estimating the total amount of employees required for the organization, or what kind of employees are required for the organization. So manpower planning refers to the process of estimating the manpower requirement of an organization. It is nothing but estimating the manpower requirement of an organization. So while estimating the manpower requirement, the management, what it does is it generally keeps in mind the available infrastructure. Yeah, it keeps in mind the available infrastructure, including the technology, then production schedule or market fluctuations, the demand forecast. Yes, so it takes into consideration all these available infrastructure. Yeah, so what happens is like it decides the kinds of staff as well as the number of staff required for an organization. So according to the market condition, or according to the demand forecast, or according to the technology or production schedule, what you can do is like you can select the total or estimate the total amount of employees required for an organization. Why? Because sometimes there are chances that you may recruit when there is no proper estimation. There are chances that you may recruit the employees which is more than ದಿ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲ್ ನೀಡೆಡ್. ಎಸ್, ಸೊ ನಮಗೆ ಏನು ಅಗತ್ಯ ಇದೆ ಅಗತ್ಯಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅಗತ್ಯಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನುವಾಗ, ಅಗತ್ಯಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನುವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ನಾವು ಏನು ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಅವೈಲೇಬಲ್ ಇದೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಫುಲ್ಲಾಗಿ ಯುಟಿಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಂಡರ್ ಯುಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. ಯಾ, ಸೊ ನಾಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಬಟ್ ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದಿ ಎಫರ್ಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಗೆಟ್ಸ್ ವೇಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ದಿ ಮನಿ. ಸೊ ನಾವು 10 ಜನ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ 15 ಜನರನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಆ 10 ಜನರ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು 15 ಜನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆ 15 ಜನರಿಗೂ ನಾವು ಸ್ಯಾಲ್ರಿ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಎಸ್, ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ಟೈಮ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮನಿ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಫರ್ಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. 10 ಜನರಕ್ಕೆ ಎಫರ್ಟೇ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ 15 ಜನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಾಗ 5 ಜನರ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಎಫರ್ಟ್ ಬಂತು, ಅದು ವಿಚ್ ಈಸ್ ಟೋಟಲಿ ವೇಸ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ರೀಸನ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಆನ್ ವಿತ್ ಎಸ್ಟಿಮೇಟಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಪವರ್ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್. ಸೊ ದ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಪವರ್ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ಟು ಗೆಟ್ ದ ರೈಟ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಫೈಡ್ people at a right time in the organization. So the second one is recruitment. So what is the recruitment, or what is this recruitment process? So the recruitment is a process of finding and attracting suitable applicants for employment. It is a process of finding and attracting suitable applicants for employment, or it can be said that it is a process of searching for prospective employees and stimulating them to apply for the jobs in the organization. Okay, so it is nothing but the process of searching for and obtaining applicants for the job, so that the right person in right number can be selected by the organization. So the information generated in the process of writing the job description and the candidate profile may be used for developing the situation's vacant advertisement. So the advertisement may be displayed on the factory office gate, maybe, or else it may be published in print media or flashed on electronic media. So this steps involves locating the potential candidate or determining the sources of potential candidate. So you might have seen lots of advertisement. So advertisement creates, or it helps the candidate to apply for the job available in the organization. So the organization also has a chance of getting a right person for the job available in the organization. So essential objective is to create a pool of prospective job candidates. Both internal source as well as the external source of recruitment may be explored. So the employees or the new employee for the organization can be selected from within the organization. It is internal source of recruitment or external source of recruitment. So when you need a fresh talent, then what you have to do is like you will have to go on with the external sources, or when you need an experienced one, what you can do is like you can go on with internal source of recruitment. Okay, the next one is selection. So when coming to selection, selection is nothing but the process of picking the suitable candidate from the pool of job applicants. So selection, it is a process of choosing from among the pool of prospective job candidates developed at a stage of recruitment. So the one who passes the process of recruitment. So what happens in recruitment is like, the people or the candidates are invited, or they stimulate the candidates to apply for the job. So what they do is like, they take up the selection process. So once the recruitment process is done, the next will be selection. It is nothing but the picking the suitable candidate. So you can't say that all the what applications that come to an organization has a right qualification for the work available in the organization. So ಏನು ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಜಾಬ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಏನು ಕ್ವಾಲಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಬೇಕು ಅದು ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋಕ್ಕಾಗಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಅದರಿಂದ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ವಿಲ್ ಪಿಕ್ ದ suitable candidates from the pool of job applicants to fill various jobs in the organization. So that is a process by which candidates for employments are divided into two. Yeah, it is a process where the candidates are divided into two. The one is those who will be offered employment, and the other one is those who will not be offered with the employment. So even in the case of highly specialized jobs where the choice space is very narrow, so the selection process serves two important perspectives. That is, it ensures that the organization gets the best among the available, and the second one is it enhances the self-esteem and prestige of those selected and conveys to them the seriousness with which the things are done in the organization. So those who are able to successfully negotiate the test and interviews are offered an employment contract and written document containing the offer and employment. So the one who does not get passed in the tests or interviews is not put into the organization. So like I told you, they are divided into two. One is those who will be offered employment, and the second one is those will not be offered. So after selection, the next one is placement and orientation. So when coming to placement and orientation, so placement means, so once an employee is been selected into the organization, once an employee is been selected into the organization, he will have to be assigned with the job. Okay, so placement means assigning jobs to the selected candidates. Placement means assigning job to the selected candidate. So assigning jobs to employees may involve a new job or the existing job, a new job or a different job. So placement may include initial assignment of job to a new employee, or and on transfer or promotion or demotion of the existing employee. So placement, it is nothing but assigning a job to the selected candidate. Okay, so when coming, that is placement, it involves striking a fit between requirement of a job and a qualification of candidate. It involves striking a fit between requirement of a job and qualification of candidate. So employee is given a brief presentation about the company. Yeah. So when coming to orientation, so employee is given a brief presentation about the company and is introduced to his superior. So subordination, that is subordinates and the colleagues. So he is taken around the workplace and given a chance of the job, charge of the job for which he is been selected. So this process of familiarizing is very crucial and may have a lasting impact on his decision to stay and on his job performance. So orientation is this, introducing the selected employee to other employees and familiarizing him with the rules and policies of the organization. So like I told you, placement refers to the employee or employees occupying the position or assigning job to the selected candidate. So when it comes to orientation, it is nothing but introducing the selected employee or a new employee to the other employees and familiarizing him with the rules and policies of the organization. So orientation process, it will also help the new person to know about a superior, subordinates and colleagues in the organization. Okay, so the next one is training and development. So what is this training and development? So once a new employee is put into the organization, so he will have to be trained. Why? Because he may be a new, that is a fresher, or a new talent into the organization, or the person may be from some other organization. There are chances that he might have quitted the previous class, that is previous um, organization, and have come to this particular organization. It is the present organization. So once an employee comes to the organization, it is very important that his knowledge and the skill of the employee has to be checked, and also it has to be increased. So training is a process of increasing the knowledge and skill of an employee to perform the present job accurately, so it is a organized procedure by which knowledge, ability, competence and personality and productivity of an employee in the organization employee of an organization is increased. Okay, so when coming to the development, so it is a process of not only building up the skill and ability, it is the process of not only building up the skill and abilities for specific purpose, but also the overall competence of manager, executive to undertake more difficult and challenging task. Okay, so what the development process does is it makes an employee or it creates employee in such a manner that he is ready to take up any kind of difficult and challenging task in the organization. So in simple, can say that development refers to the training of managers and executives. It refers to training of managers and executives. Yeah, so they have to be prepared in such a manner that any difficult or challenging task in the organization has to be done in the proper manner. Okay, so if employee motivation is high, that is if employee motivation is high, then what happens is like their competencies are strengthened, they perform better and thus contribute more to the organizational effectiveness and efficiency. So by offering the opportunities for career advancement to their members, organizations are not only able to attract but also retain its talented people. Yeah, so after your training and development, like I told you, not just training is important, even development of the employee in the organization is also very important. So the next one is the performance appraisal. So when coming to performance appraisal, once the employee is trained and once he is put into the organization, he does his work. So it is very important to evaluate the performance of an employee in the organization. So you will have to evaluate the employee's performance, so whether he is efficient enough or not. So not just putting an employee into the organization is enough, but his performance has to be taken into consideration, or you will have to evaluate his performance. So for that reason, what you do is like you bring up with performance appraisal. So performance appraisal is the systematic evaluation of the individual with respect to his performance on the job. So after the employee, like I told you, when after he undergoes a period of training and they have to be in the job for some time, and there is, once they are put into the job, there has to be evaluation of the performance. So all organizations have some formal or informal means of appraising the employee's performance. So performance appraisal, it is nothing but evaluating the employee's current or the past performance as against certain predetermined standards. So you evaluate the performance of the employee. So it is concerned with determining the difference among the employees working in the organization. So it also determines an employee's worth to the organization. So whether the employee is required or whether the employee is efficient. So having an inefficient employee in the organization is of no use. So what you can do is like, if the employee is inefficient, if he is not reaching the target of the organization, then what can be done is there are chances that he may be demotivated or he may be fired from the organization. So working in the organization, so it also determines the employee's worth or to the organization. So when he is efficient enough, then it means that he is worthy enough to be in the organization, or his worth to the organization is relatively very important. Okay, so that becomes very important. So the employee is expected to know what the standards are, and the superior is to provide the employee feedback on his performance. So performance appraisal process will include defining the job, then appraising performance and providing feedback. Yes, so the next one is promotion and career planning. Promotion and career planning. So promotion is nothing but the vertical movement of an employee within the organization. Yeah, so it becomes necessary for all the organization to address career related issues and promotional avenues for their employees. So manager, he need to design activities to serve employees long term interest also. So they must encourage employees to grow and realize their full potential. So promotions are an integral part of people's career. So they refer to being placed in position of increased responsibility. So promotion refers to the upward movement of an employee from one job to another job, that is from lower to higher one, which increases the salary or status or responsibility. So promotion, it requires more knowledge, experience and skill to perform the job. Yeah, it requires more knowledge, and experience and skill to perform the job. Okay, so the last one is compensation. So it is nothing but, compensation is nothing but paying wages and salary, or salary administration. Okay, so the workers, all organization needs to need to establish a wage and a salary plan for the employee. So no employee works free of cost for any organization. So they will have to be paid with the salary. So they will have to be paid with salary. So what they do is like, the organization should have a proper plan to pay their employees. So there are various ways to prepare different pay plans depending on the worth of the job. So basically the price of the job needs to be determined. Then compensation therefore refers to all forms of pay or rewards going to the employee. So workers tender the services for wages or salary. Like I told you, the term compensation, it comprises of cash payments, which is in addition to wages and salary, and it also includes bonus, sharing the profit maybe, or pension, etc. Okay, so wages and salaries have their direct bearing on employees performance. Wages and salaries have their direct bearing on employees performance and organizational success. A properly developed compensation system, it enables the employer of the organization to attract, obtain and as well as retain and motivate people, that is employee available in the organization. So it helps him to attract, obtain, retain that particular employee, motivate the people. Yes, so increase his caliber and also the qualification in his organization, that is people of required caliber and qualification. So when an organization is providing a good amount of salary to the employees, then what happens is like, it usually attracts people. Okay, so this is all about the staffing process. So while you go on with the staffing process, or while you go on through the selection of the employee, what you do is like, you estimate the total amount of employee required. So there is a total difference between the recruitment of employee and staffing process. Okay, so here what you do is like, you carry on with the total amount of employees required, that is manpower estimation. Then you carry out with recruitment, then selection, it goes to placement and orientation. So once there is a placement and orientation, the employees will have to be trained, development process has to be taken place. So once the training and development is provided to the employee, the performance evaluation has to be made. So the employees performance will have to be evaluated. So after performance evaluation, then there will be promotion or transfer that takes place in the organization. The last one is the compensation, where it says that a good amount of salary will have to be paid to the employee. So the salary or the compensation helps to obtain, retain, attract and motivate the employees in the organization.